been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here as we get ready for the second race of the inaugural season of the NNSCRA SRX Series. Coming off the heels of last week's race, which was a nail-biter at 5 Flags, today we are at Stafford Motor Speedway as drivers will continue on their progression towards the end of the season. Of course, as well, kind of setting the table for next week, our first dirt track stop of the year at Knoxville. But here today, these drivers getting ready for some more short track racing. Should be a good one as the point stands are still awfully close after one race is in the books, and the speeds rather were awfully close as well for trying to capture the pole position. Michael Norman is going to be officially 2 for 2 in starting on point. He, of course, got the pole position last week as well at 5 Flags. 1,000th of a second over outside starting Jesse Turner. Jesse Turner coming off of a decent outing last week at 5 Flags. Comes in subsequently inside the top 5 in the point standings. Third place starting will be Keith Batson. He was only 3,000ths of a second off of the pole, and of course trying to pick up a pole as well to cap off what was a great week for him last week, picking up the first win on the season. He'll be alongside of Austin LaPlante in the green machine. LaPlante coming into this race 6th currently in the overall standings. Levi McIntyre is going to complete the top 5. Levi did not have a good run last week, so certainly going to be on a comeback trail here today to gain back points he may have lost. He'll be alongside of Carson Gum. Now, Carson Gum didn't win the stage last week or the race, but he did finish inside of the top 3 at the end of the first half of the race, and he finished up inside the podium last week as well in the overall race, so he comes in as your subsequent points leader. Dylan Young was another driver who struggled last week. He is last of the 9 drivers in the point standings at this point in time. He'll roll off from 7th. 8th place could be Seth Cole, who had a decent run in the second half of 5 Flags race. He is 4th in points coming in this race. And then Benjamin Miles is going to complete the rest of the field, rolling off from the 9th position. Miles comes to this race a total of 19 points out, 7th in the overall point standings. Your point standings look like this coming into this race overall. Carson Gum, the points leader. Michael Norman is 2nd, 1 point back. Keith Batson, despite winning the race, did not get any bonus points from the first stage last week, so he is currently sitting 3rd in points, 10 points out of the points lead. 13 points back is a tie for 4th place between Seth Cole and Jesse Turner. Austin LaPlante, he sits 6th in points. He's 17 points out. 19 points out, and 7th is Benjamin Miles. Levi McIntyre really needs a good run today as he sits 24 points back in 8th, and 9th place Dylan Young 25 points back to the current points leader Carson Gum in the Purple Mobile. Enough talk though, let's go down trackside. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports and get ready to go racing here today at Stafford.
Drivers, start your engines!
Based off of what we saw in testing, we can expect to see a lot more double wide and maybe even 3 wide racing here today than what we saw last week at 5 Flags. So should be a good one. Appreciate you joining us as these drivers, those that have donated to the Back to Bristol 2022 GoFundMe page, get ready for our second race of the season. There's going to be a confirmed second season coming up after this first season is in the books. If you want to be a part of it and have a guaranteed spot into that and other future special events in the upcoming months, head on over to the Back to Bristol 2022 GoFundMe page and donate what you can here today. Links in the description below, but let's go racing here today at Stafford Motor Speedway. Michael Norman going to take the early advantage. Battle for second between Keith Batson and Jesse Turner as first lap going to be completed by Michael Norman, and the caution flag is already out. And it appears that Levi McIntyre may have been caught up in it. Also some damage on the purple car of Carson Gum. So let's go back and see what happened. First caution of the day, and it happens on the very first lap of this race. Doesn't look like anybody sustained major damage. McIntyre was running in the 5th position, battling for 4th with LaPlante, and it looks like he may have just gotten hooked by Carson Gum. Benjamin Miles goes for a slide in the grass. We'll get you another look at it here. Really tight turn number 2. Got the safer barrier there, about 2/3 of the back straightaway, and then you have an Armco barrier and then a steel barrier. We'll see if this gives us an idea. Yeah, it just kind of looks like Carson Gum. I don't know if Levi McIntyre ran him out of room or if Carson, turning hard left off the corner, just got Levi in the right rear quarter panel, but some pretty good damage sustained on a few machines. And it looks like it's going to take one driver out of the race, which is going to bring up an interesting point here that I was going to mention, because we didn't really have this come into play last week, as all 9 drivers made it to the completion of the first half of the race and, of course, the final segment of the race. And that was the case that these drivers have one backup car at their disposal, so if they are involved in an incident that takes them out of the first half, they are allowed to go to that backup car, but they will have to start at the rear of the field. And to kind of clarify that a little bit better, for those that didn't tune into last week, at the end of this 40-lap segment, we will have a break. We will then have the final 40 laps. The field will be inverted for the starting lineup of the second half of this race from where they finished in the first half. However, because of Levi McIntyre being out of the race here in the first half, he is guaranteed he will roll off from 9th place in the second half. So really, the only penalty that Levi McIntyre is serving right now is the fact that he's going to just have to wait until we get to the second half of this race, and he's going to lose out on bonus points, which are reserved for the top 3 finishers at the completion of this first 40-lap segment. So McIntyre is still in this race. Apparently, though, the team feeling that the crash damage was too much for him to be up to speed and be able to continue. So he will be going to that backup car, and that means that at this point in time, whoever ends up winning this first stage of the race is guaranteed that they will start no further back than 8th position for the upcoming second half of this event. So Norman's going to line up as the race leader. Jesse Turner will be alongside of him in 2nd, Keith Batson in 3rd. 4th place now going to be Dylan Young, who really benefited from that wreck as he started back in 7th and restarts in 4th. And then Austin LaPlante will be the final driver inside of the top 5 as the green flag is back in the air on lap 7 of this first half of the race. Michael Norman trying to go 2 for 2 in racking up those valuable bonus points. 20 points given out to the driver who wins the first half of the race. 15 points out to 2nd place, 10 points out to 3rd. Michael Norman, because of having those bonus points, didn't exactly have the best of performances in the overall race, but the bonus points have him 2nd in the standings, only to Carson Gum coming into today's event. So that just shows how important finished up inside the podium at the completion of this 40-lapper is, as Jesse Turner got a nice run there. Michael Norman went a little wide, not able to get the power down off of turn 2. We'll fall back again here to the battle for 3rd place. Keith Batson, last week's winner, trying to hold off Dylan Young, the neon green machine. Again, Michael Norman really high there through 1 and 2. Daytime conditions here today as opposed to the nighttime under the lights conditions we were under last week at 5 flags as contact. Turner tried to make the move on Michael Norman, who got loose. Came across the nose of Jesse Turner. Look at how that stacks the field up. Dylan Young's going to get on by as Turner's into the wall. Batson's into the back of Turner. Turner's got his hands all full right now as he'll fall back to the 4th position now. Dylan Young gets by for 2nd. Austin LaPlante moves up into a podium spot now. And that stacks them up side by side for 5th place. with Carson Gum to the inside of Keith Batson. Carson Gum getting awfully loose there, almost slid up into Batson's red car. Let's follow this battle for 5th place. Carson Gum trying to clear Batson, who does have some front-end damage from getting into the back of Turner. Carson Gum already's got some damage from getting into Levi McIntyre, bringing out not only our first caution of the day, but first caution for cause of the season, as we did not see a yellow flag, aside from the one that flew to put us between segments 1 and 2 last week. Turner's been able to hang on to 4th place. The battle is on for 2nd. Dylan Young looking back in the rearview mirror at Austin LaPlante. Dylan Young dead last in the points. A lot of drivers for sure took notice of the fact that Michael Norman, with getting those bonus points, being 2nd in the standings despite not the best of finishes last week, that those bonus points are so important. And I think that Dylan Young, who came into this race only having accumulated 10 points last week, is certainly eyeing those at least 15 bonus points with where he's running right now at the completion of the first stage of the race. It's the kind of series that rewards consistency, not necessarily wins. The wins certainly help get the max points out of race finishing results, but it's all strategy too if you think about it, because you go back to Michael Norman. Yeah, he comes into this race 2nd in the point standings, but it was because he finished high enough. Oh, Batson! Gonna get some help from Carson Gum, and he comes to a stop. Caution is gonna fly for that. Batson gonna get on the brakes, comes to a stop with oncoming traffic. Race officials, no choice but to throw the yellow flag, so we are under caution once again. I'll get to the point about Michael Norman and the kind of gains versus losses of his strategy in a moment. But yellow flag flies one more time. We'll see if we can get a more in-depth look. I'm not all that thrilled about the back straightaway cam we have here at Stafford. Wish that we had a better angle to be able to get an idea of the contact. So unfortunately we don't have that. We actually might have to rely on our helicopter cam to give us the best idea here. Just kind of looks like maybe Batson pushes up the track a little bit. Carson Gum trying to arc the corner. I think that's probably very similar to what happened between Carson Gum and Levi McIntyre, bringing out the first yellow. But we're seeing more torn up equipment here today than we saw last week at 5 Flags. That is for absolute certain. So caution waves. Keith Batson's going to continue on, as that wasn't really that heavy an impact. Matter of fact, I don't believe he even came to pit road, nor did Carson Gum. It is going to lose them some pretty valuable track position, though, as a result, especially for Batson, who's going to restart back in the 8th position. Carson Gum will be in 5th for the upcoming restart. So while we're waiting here under pacing laps, let me go back to that point I was talking about with Michael Norman and what he was able to gain but what he lost. He got those bonus points for winning the stage last week at 5 Flags. That was really important. But then he put himself back in traffic with the inverted field and was never really able to make his way up to the front. The only driver that really was able to do both, get those stage points and finish well in the overall race, cut his way through traffic, was Carson Gum, which is why he subsequently comes into this race as your points leader. But you consider the fact that he was able to do that, and he only has 1 point over Michael Norman. So Michael Norman, I think that team puts a lot of emphasis on qualifying, starting at the front, making sure that they get those bonus points at the completion of the race's first half, and then kind of just go from there and try and formulate a strategy in the second half of the race to try and get up there to the front. Being a short track, we do have to run a slightly longer pacing period than we would at bigger racetracks. But the lights are out atop the Toyota Camry pace car, which means we are going to go back green this time by Michael Norman, the leader. Austin LaPlante is now up to second. He was just barely ahead of Dylan Young when that caution came out. Young's going to restart back in third. Fourth place, Jesse Turner. And Carson Gum will be in fifth. Right now, with 17 to go next time by, Norman, LaPlante, and Dylan Young are in positions to pick up bonus points. For LaPlante and Dylan Young, it would be for the first time this season. For Michael Norman, it would be the second time, and he's obviously looking for a second straight stage victory. Got himself a nice jump there, did Michael Norman, as LaPlante's going to try and reel him in for that race lead. Stacked up third place on back. Dylan Young, Jesse Turner, Carson Gum. Turner trying to get by Dylan Young. He is going to at least get to the left rear quarter panel, but he can't afford to slip up because Carson Gum is right there to capitalize as well. Oh man, Turner sent it into turn 3, and that's going to cost him as he's going to make contact with Carson Gum. That's the battle for fourth. Carson able to get back to the throttle really nicely there out of turn 2, but not able to get alongside Turner, at least for the moment. Maybe a little contact right there. I think Carson Gum just sent Turner up the hill. Might be able to complete the pass here for fourth place, going through 1 and 2, and he will. So Carson Gum up to fourth place. Now he sets his sights on Dylan Young, who right now is in the final spot to receive bonus points here in the first half of this race. Keith Batson right now just ahead of Benjamin Miles. Both those drivers sporting some damage. Seth Cole's got some damage on the left side of his car. Just noticed that. I believe that was from the first caution of the day. We've worked 2 cautions at this point in time. There's Carson Gum. He's been into the wall a couple of times after being involved in both cautions here today. Got into Levi McIntyre back on the first lap of this race, and then got into Keith Batson, bringing out the second caution of the day. But right now, trying to hold off Jesse Turner and trying to get up there to Dylan Young. Trying to make it a fight for that final spot inside the podium in the first half of this race. Michael Norman coming around this time will have 10 to go. At this point in time, Austin LaPlante holding steady but not really gaining on Michael Norman in that second position. Dylan Young pretty firmly in control of third place. And the battle is really on for fourth between Turner and Carson Gum, but the more these drivers battle each other, the longer they do that, the more likely it is that Dylan Young's going to run away with third. Maybe not, because I believe the caution is out again, and indeed it is. And I believe this might have been Keith Batson again. Last week's winner is not having a good day here today. Much like Levi McIntyre, though, all these other drivers have a backup car, so they could either repair the race cars they've got at this point in time, or they could go to said backup car for the second half of this race, as Batson's going to come down to the attention of his crew. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to him. Not even sure who he was running around. Oh, it was Seth Cole. Just ran out of room again. Kind of a little bit of deja vu, except this time it was Seth Cole to the outside of Batson rather than Carson Gum. And I really get a feeling that a big reason for us seeing the caution fly here today as opposed to last week at 5 flags is the fact that we are under daytime conditions. The track is slicker. There's not as much grip. Drivers are sliding up off the corner. You can clearly see right there. There's more tire heat going into that right front as well with the hotter track conditions. So a lot of different factors coming into play into drivers not being able to give each other enough room to maneuver these tight corners, especially on exit at Stafford. And so we're seeing more contact and more damage sustained by drivers in this one, which is going to make the second half of this race even more interesting to see if this call by Michael Norman to go for those bonus points is going to work out in his favor based on the fact he's going to be back in that hornet's nest. Going to have to try and maneuver his way through some potential wrecks when we get to the second part of today's race. Also mentioned as well, a little bit of maybe a sense of urgency for these drivers here today to get as many points as possible based on where we're going next week. We've got 2 dirt tracks on the schedule, and Knoxville will be the first track that we will visit with the dirt-covered surface next week. So be sure to tune in for that one. That should be a lot of fun, slipping and sliding and slinging the dirt. Then we'll then head to Lucas Oil Raceway, which will end out the first half of this 8-race schedule. Once again, want to remind everybody that these drivers taking part in this event, this series, are drivers that have generously donated over on the Back to Bristol 2022 GoFundMe page. There is a confirmed second season of the NNSCRA SRX series that's going to be taking place after this season is concluded. If you want to have a guaranteed spot in that upcoming series, as well as other special NNSCRA events from now until the month of August, be sure to head on over to that GoFundMe page. Donate what you can. You'll also be in the running for special prizes, including a $5 diecast raffle that is going to be going on for the next few months. Green flag back in the air here at Stafford, and LaPlante was ready this time, as was Dylan Young. Michael Norman's going to have a challenge here coming into 3 and 4. Slipped up the track. LaPlante is there. Contact made. LaPlante having to hang on to it. Drives it deep into turn 1. Less than 3 to go here in the first half of the race at Stafford. We still got another 40-lapper to run when this is all said and done. And looks like the caution's out again. Michael Norman's going to win this race, or this first half, I should say, under yellow. LaPlante will get second, and Dylan Young will get third. So they will get the bonus points here. And Michael Norman is going to be a back-to-back winner of the first half stage. Did it last week at 5 Flags. Does it here again today at Stafford Motor Speedway. Appears to have been Benjamin Miles that was involved in this one. And while that's obviously a tough break for Benjamin Miles, finishing out the first half of this race back in 8th place, that means that despite bringing out this caution, he is going to benefit as starting up on the inside of the front row for the upcoming remaining 40 laps of this race. Michael Norman, though, we talked about the bonus points that he got last week, helping him to be positioned second in the point standings coming into today's race, and he is going to continue to rack up points as he will get another 20 points to his total, picking up the victory here in the first half of the race today at Stafford Motor Speedway. First bonus points for Austin LaPlante and Dylan Young. LaPlante 6th in points, Dylan Young 9th in points. That's really going to help them out in their attempt to get higher up in the point standings. Rest of the field going to cross the start-finish line, so it looks like it's going to be Benjamin Miles and Keith Batson who are going to be our front row in the upcoming second half. So congratulations to Michael Norman, as he is the winner of the first half of this race. And now these drivers will come down to the attention of their crews. They will have the choice of either repairing their current cars or going to backup cars and get themselves ready and gridded for the upcoming second half of this race. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here in just a moment after this commercial break and get you set for the final 40 laps of the second race of the season for the NNSCRA SRX Series. we welcome you back to Stafford Motor Speedway, getting ready for the second and final half of this race. Field has been inverted, so Benjamin Miles will be the leader when we take the green flag. Keith Batson will be to his outside. Seth Cole and Jesse Turner in row 2. Carson Gum, Dylan Young, row 3. Austin LaPlante and our stage winner, if you will, Michael Norman, back in row 4. Levi McIntyre, who had to go to a backup car, did not finish out the first segment, will start shotgun on the field. Green flag in the air. We're back underway here for our final 40-lap segment at Stafford. Looks like we're gonna make the first lap without a caution. Photo finish there between Keith Batson and Benjamin Miles. Miles barely going to edge out Batson for that spot. Keith Batson, we saw Michael Norman pick up back-to-back stage victories now. Keith Batson would love to have back-to-back race victories after getting the season opener checkered flag last week at 5 Flags. Things are really dicey though. Almost 3 wide. Jesse Turner got to the inside of Batson, and then Seth Cole was to his inside. We might be 3 wide again as Seth Cole gets really loose on the inside of Turner, almost up into Dylan Young. 3 wide again into turn 1 as Jesse Turner chops the nose of Seth Cole. Oh, this is not good. We're actually banging off of each other now. And Turner going to cross from top to bottom to the inside of Batson. That's going to be the battle for second place behind Benjamin Miles. Contact further back between Seth Cole, Dylan Young, and Carson Gum in the 3-way battle for 4th. Look at Carson Gum getting loose as he had, I think, all 4 tires down below the lowest white line. I think he was on the apron. That time he was into the left rear quarter panel of Seth Cole. Somehow we're still green. Not exactly sure how. Saw the caution fly a total of 4 times back in the first 40 laps of this race. We've gone 5 laps without a caution coming out, and I think we've seen more contact exchange here in the second half than we saw back in the first half. Dylan Young, Carson Gum leaning on each other. That is for 5th position at this point in time. Seth Cole back to the inside of Batson. That's for 3rd. Jesse Turner has been able to clear himself into 2nd. He's now setting his sights on Benjamin Miles for the race lead. And there is our stage winner, Michael Norman, right now mired back in the 7th position at this point in time. As I think Batson's going to clear for 3rd. He will. Got a nice run there on the outside of turn 4, but slips up the track in turn 1, opens the door once again. Seth Cole going to stick his foot in. And these drivers continue to battle for that 3rd spot. That's going to allow Benjamin Miles and Jesse Turner to start scampering away and maybe make this a mano-a-mano battle as Carson Gum almost hooks Seth Cole. Little contact exchange between those two, and we have a lead change. Jesse Turner, nice slick slide job on Benjamin Miles. He will go to the top position. Carson Gum has now moved up a spot. Are we under caution? We are under caution. I was going to say, all of a sudden, Seth Cole was nowhere to be found. I think he and Carson Gum might have made some contact, bringing out the 5th caution of the day. First caution here in the second half of the race. And there is Seth Cole. That is day done for the yellow car. Cole came into this race 4th in the point standings, tied with Jesse Turner for 4th, 13 points back, and it looks like he's going to suffer a DNF. Another driver has already gone back to the garage area, and that's Dylan Young in the 10 car. So both drivers, Cole and Young, not going to be able to finish this one out. That's going to hurt Dylan Young more than it's going to hurt Seth Cole, because I believe Cole is going to come around and retire out in the 8th position. Dylan Young right now is en route for back-to-back last place finishes here in the first 2 races of the season. Boy, Turner timed that move for the race lead awfully well. Had just gotten around Benjamin Miles before that caution flag flew. Let's go back and see what happened to bring out this caution. I believe Levi McIntyre also was collected up in this, as was Carson Gum. We saw the battle scars on his purple car. Seth Cole, Keith Batson, they were battling at the time for, I believe it was the 4th position. Correction, 3rd place. And they made contact before they even got to the exit of turn 2. Nowhere for Dylan Young to go. There's Levi McIntyre collected. And did LaPlante get through that? I think Austin LaPlante may have just snuck his way through that incident. If he did, kudos to him, because short tracks are not an easy place to be able to avoid wrecks. Michael Norman had actually lost a ton of positions as well, a lot of time. Not sure what happened to him. We'll try and see if we can go back, find out what happened to the blue car. As here's another look again at what happened. Kind of have to look way back there for the contact, but you can see Seth Cole never even got the car straightened out for the exit. That car just kept going up towards the outside wall, so it says to me that he and Batson, they were making contact with each other long before they got to the exit of turn 2. Might have actually hooked some sheet metal. And we had no caution for Michael Norman in the 9, but I'm pretty certain that he had an incident. Oh, he did. No caution came out for it, though. This was the lap prior. Trying to get to the inside of Dylan Young. Slides up, makes contact with him. Locks up the brakes to avoid getting to the outside wall, which he does make a little contact with that steel girder with both the right front and right rear, but no caution came out for that. So interesting to note there why Michael Norman was running as far back as he was. Pace car is going to make the left-hand turn to pit road, and we're going back racing on lap 16 of 40 for this final segment of the day. Jesse Turner leads us back to green over Benjamin Miles. Carson Gum in 3rd. 4th place on that restart was Keith Batson and Austin LaPlante in 5th. 2 drivers out of the race officially. Seth Cole will finish 8th. Dylan Young will finish in 9th place. 2nd place under contest, Carson Gum and Benjamin Miles. Behind them, got a good battle going on as well. Ooh, careful! Like for a moment, Carson was drifting up, thinking he was clear on Benjamin Miles when he was not. Michael Norman trying to make forward progress. He's going to get hooked by Austin LaPlante. Saves it. Both of them do. Is the caution out for that, though? Oh, and now Michael Norman's going to get spun off the nose of Keith Batson. That will undoubtedly bring out a caution. Yellow flag is indeed waving as Jesse Turner comes around and receives the yellow flag. It's a drag race to the line between Carson Gum and Benjamin Miles, which I believe Carson Gum was the winner of. And I don't see anybody sustain any damage in all of that to take them out of the race, but certainly a lot to unpackage. Let's go to the initial contact first off between Michael Norman and Austin LaPlante that did not bring out the yellow flag. And then we'll follow the incident afterwards on the back straightaway between Norman and Batson. And Michael just squeezing LaPlante up there. Nothing LaPlante can do. We can't go any higher on the racetrack. There's nothing up further but the outside wall. Levi McIntyre says, thank you very much. He picked up a few spots because of that with that wounded machine. And I think right there, Michael Norman got a big run on McIntyre, who's a little bit off the pace with that front end damage. Checked up, and Keith Batson was not willing to check up. Got into Norman's left rear quarter panel, spins him around, and LaPlante was able to get on the brakes to avoid getting further damage. Short tracks breed short tempers. These cars are tough, but you certainly don't want to take yourself out of the running for as many points as you can possibly get, especially as we've seen with just one race under our belts how important points really, really are. Consistency, very important. Being up at the front, getting those bonus points in the segment ends, very important. Well, Jesse Turner, 13 points back, 5th in the standings coming into this race. Well, technically tied for 4th with Seth Cole coming into this race. Right now in line for some good points if he's able to close this thing out. Carson Gum right behind him, though. In second, Benjamin Miles, who started on pole for the second segment of this race, lines up in the third position. Then Levi McIntyre, no front end and all. That's a backup car too, so has torn up 2 race cars during the course of this event so far. He's in 4th place though, and Keith Batson right now in 5th. Michael Norman 6th, Austin LaPlante 7th. Those drivers still remaining, 2 drivers back in the garage area as we are now 3/4 of the way through this race. Well, we've seen a lot of contact exchanged here today, expecting no less next week when we go to Knoxville Speedway. Dirt track racing should be a lot of fun to see what these drivers are going to be able to do. Keith Batson's already got a checkered flag. He's looking for his 2nd here today, still very much in the running for this thing. But everybody else that is currently up to speed, they are looking for their 1st checkered flag of the season. And if you want to be in the running for a checkered flag here in the SRA SRX Series in the confirmed 2nd season, head on over to the Back to Bristol 2022 GoFundMe page, link in the description below. Whatever you're able to donate, that donation locks you into the upcoming 2nd season as well as future special events here on the SRA Sports and Gaming channel between now and the month of September. Green flag back in the air here at Stafford. Turner got a great jump. Carson Gum not as much, as he was under fire through 1 and 2 from Benjamin Miles for the 2nd position. And he is still under fire as he slipped up there through 3 and 4. Miles will cross to the inside looking for 2nd place. Little contact exchange potentially, trying to push Carson up the track. Ooh, gets loose though. On the inside of entry of 3 does Benjamin Miles. More contact exchanged. Miles should complete for the pass here as Michael Norman and Levi McIntyre made some contact. Whoa, and McIntyre's not happy. He just brake-checked Michael Norman there. Somehow we stay green. No, caution is out. Caution's going to come out, and Benjamin Miles got Carson Gum for 2nd place at the start-finish line. Ooh, and they're going to make a little contact there. Yellow flag out, and I'm assuming it was for what we saw just the tail end of there. Michael Norman, Levi McIntyre getting together on the front straightaway. Keith Batson might have been collected up in it and spun out, which might have been the reason for race officials choosing to throw out the caution. Let's find out for certain. A lot of cautions waving here today. The race officials bored out of their skull last week with it being pretty much a caution-free race, but here today they've had a lot to do. Oh, and it was not just a simple spin and save. There was quite a bit of contact exchange there between McIntyre and Norman. This was off of turn number 4. And Levi McIntyre are going to get sent down to the inside wall. Those are Jersey barriers, by the way, that inside wall. And, woo, he missed it. Gets that thing pointed in the right direction, comes back up the track, and now watch this. Short tracks breed short tempers. Here's Exhibit A, Your Honor. Right up in front, made sure it was Michael Norman behind him. Gets on the brakes, checks Michael Norman up. Levi McIntyre showing his displeasure to our stage winner here today, Michael Norman. And we'll follow that story here for the remainder of this race, as there's still a good chunk of laps still left to be run, and McIntyre Norman are going to be lined up nose to tail for the upcoming restart. McIntyre in 5th and Norman in 6th. Well, Jesse Turner, ever since he took the race lead, he's not really had to defend it per se. Best battle last couple of times has been for 2nd place between Benjamin Miles and Carson Gum. 2 restarts ago, Carson Gum got the better of Benjamin Miles and restarted in 2nd on the last restart. Now Miles has been able to get back around the purple car, and so he's back up in the runner-up position. Benjamin Miles, 7th in the point standings coming into today. 16 points accumulated last week, so 19-point deficit between himself and points leader Carson Gum coming into this race. Michael Norman racked up the bonus points, winning the stage the first half of this race today. Carson Gum trying to kind of do what he did last week, which is finish up there high in the overall finishing results at the conclusion of today's event. And right now, running up inside of the podium, if he's able to finish there with Turner and Miles where they currently are at, Carson Gum would be the only driver this season to have scored a podium finish in the first 2 races of the season. So Jesse Turner going to lead us back to green. Pace car should be making the left-hand turn to pit road. It's going to be 9 laps to go here at Stafford Speedway. Let's see if we can finish them all under green, or will we see the caution wave yet again? Our first half of the race ended under yellow. We did run a good chunk of the second half of this race, the beginning stages anyway, under green flag conditions before seeing a bunch of torn up race cars and cautions breeding cautions. Can we finish this race under green, though, is the question. Benjamin Miles putting the pressure on Jesse Turner for the race lead. He is there. He's alongside. There's contact exchanged between the two down the front straightaway. Miles trying to force his way in, and he might have Turner. Oh, Turner's going to hook him, and Carson Gum's going to get collected. Caution is out. We're racing back to the yellow as Turner on the outside of Carson Gum. Back to the line they race. Turner's going to get Carson Gum at the line. But Benjamin Miles, in an attempt to get the race lead, potentially the race win, it did not work out in his favor. This race should get back green. Now what about the 6 of Carson Gum? That was some pretty heavy contact with the front end, and he's coming down pit road. That's going to completely change what the top 3 looks like for this upcoming final restart. Carson's going to be the only one coming down pit road here. As let's go back and see what exactly happened there. Man, that is a tough break for Benjamin Miles and for Carson Gum. Both of them running up inside of the top 3. That was almost a 3-wide situation for the race lead, actually. And just kind of feels like a broken record, but it's the same deal that's been happening all day long. That car on the inside pushing up. I think Benjamin Miles might have actually thought that he had the slide job completed and thought he could be clear. But he was obviously not. Forces Turner up into the wall. Carson Gum, big hit there. Ooh, what a move there by Austin LaPlante. That's about the 2nd or 3rd wreck that he's dodged today. And then watch this coming back to the line. Now, it didn't really matter because Carson Gum came to pit lane. Had he won this battle back to the start-finish line, he might have actually decided to stay out. But the race back to the start-finish line rule is in effect. And look at how close that was there between Turner and Carson Gum for obviously the driver who's going to be leading us back to green on the upcoming restart. But maybe more importantly, potentially, that might have been the proverbial checkered flag taken right there. Well, Carson's going to try and get whatever points he possibly can here in the closing stages. He did not go to the garage. They repaired that car as best they possibly can, so he'll restart in 7th place. But Turner's the race leader. Now LaPlante, after that slick move to avoid, he's up to 2nd. And Michael Norman is now up and into the 3rd position. So well done by him. Carson Gum, you see being scored as your race leader. That's incorrect. That will change when Turner comes around here to the start-finish line. Carson Gum across the start-finish line on pit road, bypassing the race leaders. So it should update itself correctly here when Turner in the orange car crosses the start-finish line. And it is not. Now Carson Gum coming off pit lane. Looks like he's waiting. So maybe this next time around it should update itself correctly. And according to what I'm seeing with the lights on still atop the pace car, I think this race is going to now end under yellow. I thought we might have enough laps to get back green. But Jesse Turner, looks like right at this point in time, he is going to win the second race of the season. Turner didn't cash in on bonus points here today. Started this second half of the race from the outside of row number 2 in 4th place. And there you saw the white flag across the hood of his orange SRX machine, which means that he is going to be the winner of this event. Not sure why they've still got Carson Gum scored as the race leader. I have to double check on that, because if they've got Carson scored as the race leader, that should be incorrect. Hopefully it updates itself correctly when they come around to take the checkers, or else we'll be showing you incorrect finishing results. But nonetheless, turn 4 for the final time. Well done here today by Jesse Turner. Second race of the season for the NNSCRA SRX Series at Stafford goes to Jesse Turner. And our official standings did update correctly, thank goodness. So Turner, who came into this race 5th in points, going to be a big points day for him. Austin LaPlante, 6th in the standings. He's going to finish in 2nd. And Michael Norman is going to kind of pull a Carson Gum from last week. Picked up bonus points in the first half of this race, winning the stage. And he will be the final car on the podium here today, which says to me he is more than likely going to be our points leader heading into Knoxville next week. Standings should be official. Let's take a look and see who finished where in this one. Mentioned the top 3. Levi McIntyre, great comeback run for Levi after he did not reach the conclusion of the first half of this race. Had to go to a backup car, even sustained damage on the backup car, but brings home in 4th. Keith Batson, last week's winner, will have to settle for 5th place here today. Benjamin Miles involved in that last caution of the day, making a bold move there for the race lead, potentially the race win. Did not work out. He will finish in 6th, and Carson Gum will actually finish a lap down, it says, in the 7th position. But all those 7 drivers reached the conclusion of this race. Seth Cole, who finishes 8th, and Dylan Young, who finishes 9th, they did not. Both of them out of the race before we got to the 3-quarter mark of today's event. Let's take a look at the point standings now that have been calculated heading into Knoxville next week. No surprise to see Michael Norman at the top of the board with his back-to-back stage victories last week and this week, and a podium finish here today. Going to be interesting to see if he can maintain that points lead when we get to Knoxville next week. Thank you all for tuning into today's race here from Stafford Motor Speedway. Second race of the NNSCRA SRX Series is in the books. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We showed you your full finish results, and you were looking at your point standings. So, next week, dirt track racing for these SRX drivers at Knoxville Raceway. Hope you guys will tune in for that one. Once again, one final time, if you want to take part in the confirmed 2nd season of the NNSCRA SRX Series, which will begin at the conclusion of this 1st season, you can lock yourself up a guaranteed spot by heading over to the link in the description, the Back to Bristol 2022 GoFundMe page. Any donation that you make is an automatic lock into the field for next season, as well as other special events from now until the month of September on the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel. Also get you in the running for special raffles that go on each month, so head on over and donate what you can. But until next week at Knoxville, congratulations to Jesse Turner on the victory here today at Stafford Speedway. Thank you all for tuning in to today's race. I will see you guys next time as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.
We're gonna